when we moved in, this had previously been a somewhat of a startup sheep dairy, I think it was going to be. So when we moved in, everywhere that you can see was covered with a 13-inch thick layer of matted sheep manure and straw, which actually some of the remnants are over there. But picture what that looks like just across the whole thing. We actually had to rent machinery because the doorways weren't big enough to get machines in. So we had to rent a Toro Dingo, and I was out here for like 12 hours one day after I rented it in Waterbury. I got it like 7 in the morning, got home, worked until like 10 that night. It was crazy, and I only got the very center of that cleaned out. So that was the hardest part of this whole thing has just been cleaning up, and it's not cleaned yet. Like we've still got to pressure wash this and bleach it, and this is the very earliest stages. So, but yeah, the cleaning has just been the biggest challenge, and I guess I didn't really think of it before we started, just how much we were going to have to clean. Easily in this space we've got probably 150 hours, definitely a solid 2 weeks of just cleaning up manure, and it doesn't. It sounds like this area wouldn't take that much, but I ended up having to rent a demo saw and cutting the doorway open so I could get a different tractor in here with a loader, and then even that took like another 30 hours. We did a little painting, just to encapsulate some of the what we think was like a whitewash. It's like a lime sort of thing, from what I understand. So we painted a lot of it just to clean it up, but this area is going to get a dairy board on it, and same with back in here too. So there won't be any areas that are exposed to water or dirt or bacteria. We're just doing our best to make this as clean as it possibly can, because we want to be out ahead of produce safety regulations and stuff like that. We don't want anybody coming in here and saying that doesn't look clean, that doesn't look safe. We're already trying to think of it, so there should be no issue. So the cooler is going to be this whole area right here, from the end of this beam to this beam, and then this whole space in here, which I would have loved it to be a little taller, but we're working with what we've got. To build a new building, we're looking at 60 grand probably just for a tin building that we're then going to have to put insulation up and stuff. So this was the cheapest way to do this, and I think really it's going to be pretty efficient. Obviously not as efficient as if you were to just put up a wash pack barn, but this is getting pretty close. So it is a barn already. All we have to do is retrofit it, and that's historically what people do with barns all the time. They just make them work for whatever they need. So that's what we're doing. We're going to make it work. I think we're going to have shorter bins, so we can stack more of them. Like we're actually going to make a bunch of bins. So we're going to measure and see how many we can fit up. I think these are 8-foot ceilings, or maybe 7.5, something like that. We've got the valley is pretty narrow and it runs north to south, so we're just getting pummeled with wind all winter. And we could go through and insulate the whole thing and try to do that, but it makes more sense just to insulate this really, really well, put a little bit of heat into it in the winter, and then a little bit of cooling into it in the summer. And I think we're going to just be able to run a CoolBot, and I think it's going to be enough, especially when we get it filled with produce, because produce gives off a bit of heat too. So what's nice about having this as the cooler is because we have to keep it heated, now we have year-round water in here. But since it's going to be heated during the winter, there's no chance of it freezing, it freezes every year. So that's just like a huge improvement too. Just by turning this space into what we already wanted it to, now we've gained year-round water, which is great. But I want to level everything off, so we actually have a couple inches to play with. I don't know if you can see right here, we've got about 2 inches where we could fill up the gutters and go up that high, and we're definitely going to do it. It just doesn't make sense to do it now. I think in the meantime we're just going to have just like a little filler right here, maybe of like a wooden ramp or something like that, so we can move skids onto this section, but I don't think it's going to be too much of a bottleneck this year. But definitely in the years to come, we're going to need to have this filled in. Who knows, we may even need to have the cooler be this whole central area of the barn, and